Hello. So what we're going to do today here is put together the floor stand. Now what you'll see is this is different than most of the other floor stands that are used for vertical jump measuring devices. This floor stand is rigid. It doesn't move, it doesn't telescopic, which means it's going to be rigid and give you the most accurate numbers with your vertical jump measuring device. Okay, so we're going to go through the hardware. I'll show it here in the little picture what the hardware contains. There are 3 leveling feet. There are 2 wheels, so you can move the floor stand around. There are hardware, obviously, to bolt everything together. And then it comes with a wrench pack. Everything you need to tighten up everything that is in the hardware pack. So we're going to start with the counterweight. So we'll put the leveling feet on there and the wheels on there real quick. We'll do our final adjustment on these, obviously, when we level it. Alright. Our wheels are threaded as well. Once you get these where you want them, there's a nut on the threads as well. You can tighten that down so the wheel doesn't come loose while you wheel it around. A few more threads in there. Okay, so that takes care of the counterweight and the hardware that goes on it. The next part here is our cross member. So essentially it's a flange here that goes on the counterweight, and then the vertical tube attaches there. So we'll flip this over. So there is a large washer, a lock nut washer, and a bolt for each side. So you put the bolt, the lock nut washer on there, and then the washer flat against the cross member. Go ahead and you can tighten those up. Use the wrench that was provided. Obviously, if you have a wrench at home instead of using these that come with it, it's 5/8. Got that one wedged in there. That takes care of the cross member. Grab the bolt. Alright, I'll need that. So I'm going to go ahead and take the lowest member here, and not the one with the logo on it, not the one with the cap on it, but the other one. And we're going to attach these 2 together real quick. Make it easier on the table here, I'm going to hold off on that one. I'm going to go ahead and attach the angle iron and this together. So we'll lay this flat. So I'll show you what this looks like here. So essentially we have posts coming up, and then this angle iron going here. The hole pattern is a little different. You'll see there's 2 closer holes here, so make sure you just line that up correctly. Now there's 3 different size bolts. There's 2 that are unique. They go on the bottom here because it's going through a thick plate, and then another thick plate on the bottom, so you'll need the longer bolts for that. A little easier if you have it laying flat, but we'll go ahead and make this work. you use your other size, it's the middle size bolts and nuts that go through there. I always like to have the head of the bolt where everyone's going to be jumping, which is this side instead of the nut. So I go ahead and I'll attach those this way, lining up the holes. Sometimes that's the hardest part about all this. Get everything somewhat finger tight. Don't tighten everything down until you get all the bolts in. No particular order. And then two to run across. I like to use the head of the bolt on the angle iron piece, and then the washer and nut on the actual tube. We kept the tube somewhat thin walled so you can be light enough to where you can easily transport it. So when you tighten these down, it will crush a little bit, so you want to have the washer on that side of the tube. Got all 8 bolts in this joint. Makes it nice and rigid. So now what we'll do is tighten this up. Could use what's in the packet, but this is much quicker and easier to use. So if you have your own wrenches, grab your 11 millimeter. I like to put the non-ratcheting side on the area without the washer, and then the ratcheting side with the washer. That way it doesn't scuff up the paint at all. So interesting story on this one. We're going to put this together. We're actually going to ship this one, or actually I'm going to deliver this one to the NCAA Hall of Fame in Indianapolis. So if you're ever there, go ahead and check this out. They're going to have it on display for everyone to use. After this, we'll put the rest of the vertical tube together and we'll be done. Check everything real quick. All right, done with that. So now we'll go back. So we'll extend these. There's 3 bolts on each side, so you just line that up. I like to keep the angle iron piece the same, so that way it looks nice. So we'll go ahead and put that together with the 9 bolts that come with it. Same thing, I like to use the head of the bolt and washer on the tube that's outside, so the athlete doesn't hit the nut and the through bolt, maybe scratch their hand. So if you ever want to transport this down the road, it's always best to separate the 4-piece tube into 2 pieces. Now we'll use our 10mm wrenches for this to tighten it up. So I'll assemble these next 2 pieces the same way. I'll just make sure that I line up. I want the holes facing out, and I want the angle iron piece to be the same, just like that. And we will go ahead and lay it down like this here. Grab 3 more nuts and bolts, and we'll put this together. As you can see, this goes together really easy. You don't have to be an engineer or mechanic to be able to put this thing together. You'll be just fine putting it together on your own. It's really simple. Make sure that all the bolt holes line up before we ship it. In case we missed one, we do usually ship a drill bit with it, just to make sure. You can take care of it yourself on your end, but you should not have to. So I tighten it up just to where we start to crush the metal. That way you know it's getting tight. We'll go ahead and take this, put it on the ground. I will put the one last leveling feed in here. Unlike other vertical poles, this here does not make contact with your nice wood, hardwood floor in the gym. It's a leveling foot here. This allows you to easily adjust it to make sure it's 60 inches from the ground, the measuring device is. So you thread this in as far as you need to, and there's a nut here that locks it in place to make sure it never comes loose on you. That should be good just for right now. So I'll just demonstrate this real easy. You roll this around however you want to see fit. So, all right. So we'll put it up just like that. Arms are long enough without hitting me in the head. Grab the hardware. Put that in place. So this joint here I'm working on is the one that you should separate if you're going to transport it, and you want to keep most of it together. Just go ahead and separate this one here in half. Fits easily into a car this way. After I tighten this one last one up, we're all good to go. So this is the floor stand itself. Just like that, fully assembled. Alright, so now what we'll do is we'll attach the measuring device to it, do the final leveling, measure 60 inches from the ground to the bottom plastic, and we are all set. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. Give myself a little room here. So, wheel it down, and spin it all the way around, just so I can get access to the measuring device really easy. So as I mentioned, there's 2 holes here. So all we're going to do is take the measuring device here. We have 2 studs off the back of it. Take off the nut and washer. Make sure the other nut's pretty far down. Gives you plenty of room to slide it through the tube. Still put the nut and washer on the back side. Alright, so the bottom of it is this side. So we're going to spin it around just to make it easy without losing the washers. And slide it through the tube, just like that. Put the other washer and nut on, and you are going to be fully assembled measuring device and floor stand. So you tighten this up just a little bit, but this is essentially, pull this in here, stand it up so you can see it. So this is the fully assembled floor stand and measuring device. What I'll do is I'll thread that rod on there, pull it down all the way so I can measure 60 inches from the ground while adjusting these 3 leveling feet and leveling it all sides to it. Okay, it's nice to get a magnetic level. Leave it on there this way, level each direction, this way and that way, forward and aft. And then you'll measure 60 inches from the ground to the lowest plastic indicator. Right, so these are the 2 rods that come with your measuring device as well as the telescopic adjustment stick here. So what you have is a 2-piece part, you thread them together. Once you get it, I always like to, if you're not going to ever take this apart, I'd go ahead and put some glue in here, super glue or whatever, tighten it up, or just tighten it really tight by hand so it doesn't come loose. This is essentially your key. So if you don't want anyone messing with it when you're not around, you essentially take this away. This just simply threads right into the bottom of the measuring device. Once you get that in there tight, you simply pull it down. There's 3 levels to it. That's the middle level. This is the bottom level, all the way down. Okay, so what we're going to do is take this one. This has 60 on the bottom of it. That will be 60 inches from the ground. So usually what I like to do is just ballpark where I'm at real quick with this. So right now I'm about 60 3/4. Okay, so what that tells me is now I have to screw in the bottom leveling foot a lot more. So in there, 3/4 of an inch. So let's see. Ready, Teddy? Okay. So when you're backwards, just point your thumb in the direction you want to go and turn it, and that will make it go in. Don't forget to loosen your nut. All right. We're going to assume that's 60 inches. Yep, that's dead on at 60. Okay, but now it may not be level, right? So you want to now go and level each direction. This way I'm really good right now. So that means I don't have to really adjust these to help get that forward and back. That pole's level in that direction. Now, I don't think it's level left to right. No, so it's way off. So you'll use leveling feet, and what you're going to do is the top of it needs to go that way. So you can do it, both of them. So if you lower this one and raise this one, you won't really mess up the front setting at all. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and raise this one up, which means we want it to go out. All right, that helped. And then now we'll go ahead and lower it, or raise this one up. We have plenty of thread engagement in here, so I don't usually like to have the bolt sticking through the top, although you can. I just don't want a trip hazard there. So I'll go ahead and extend this one down more. And maybe just where the floor is at as well, maybe really a level. That's almost perfect. All right, so now it's level in both directions. And then you kind of double check it. When I did that, we messed up level this way. So all we do is fine tune it until we get it perfect. Double check, make sure that's 60 inches once we get it completely level. And we are good. Get a better tape measure than this little thin one that doesn't operate so well. All right, so we're almost at 60. We'll do some final adjustments here and make it perfect. I will show you the telescopic pole real quick. So there's little latching mechanisms here, fully extended, and you can lock them back in place. That way it doesn't retract on you. And this here is used to put them back in place. All right. So like I said, there's 3 levels to this. I'm going to go ahead and talk through that real quick. The lowest level, you'll use the numbers that are on here. The smaller numbers you'll use when you're closest to the ground. When you raise it up, it locks in place at the middle setting and let go. You'll use the middle set of numbers. So in this case, there's 60, 89, and 118. So you'll use 89, which is the middle number, when it's at the middle setting. Okay, so for instance, if I was standing up here and I only hit 60 inches with my standing reach, and then I jump up now and I hit 89, you would subtract 89 or 60 from 89, and I'd have a 29-inch vertical. So all the math is here. But to continue with what I was talking about with the numbers, all the way up, it locks in place. You can adjust how hard or how easy it is to raise and lower it just by adjusting a spring-loaded ball. But right now, it feels really good. It doesn't take much effort at all to lower it. There's 3 levels once again. Small numbers, lowest level. Middle level, middle numbers. All the way up, use the largest numbers. Stay there. All right, so you use the largest numbers. All right, so it's really simple. First off, you do standing reach. For me, it'll be at the middle level. Okay, oh, maybe all the way down. You'll reach up, flat-footed, reach up as high as you can. The only way you cheat this measuring device is not by reaching up as high. So you want to make sure you reach up as high as you can and touch. So you can do it 2 ways. You can look at the number you hit, which in this case is 85, or, which I find easier, just look at the number that you didn't hit, which is 86. So I stood up and did not hit 86. So that's 86 inches from the ground. That's my standing reach. So now I'm going to put them back in place. 86, we got to remember that number. Put it up. If I jump up and I hit, this would be 98. So in this case, I would subtract 86 from 98. That'd be 12 inches. That's my vertical jump. It's that simple. I don't have to take a number off the pole because the pole's not moving. It's all rigid. All it does is hold the measuring device. That's the beauty of it. And you hit these, and wherever your number is, you subtract that from your standing reach number, and that's your vertical jump. It's that simple. So you can see how easy that was to level it, to make sure everything's perfectly level, so you can get the very accurate numbers, and then the movement of the device up and down, locks in place. It's that simple. All right? You can do that all day long. If you have a large group, what I like to do is line them up shortest to tallest and have them all go through, get their standing reach shortest to tallest, so you're not constantly raising and lowering it. But for one person at a time, get their standing reach. If they're somewhat tall this area, if they are short, like me, go ahead and get it here in this area. Okay, so that's simple. So we'll continue to have videos to educate you on the product, show how easy it is to use it. Until next time.